Hello everyone, and welcome to today's Mastering Online Growth Bootcamp, brought to you by the Township of Langley. Today I have joining me Darian Kovacs, the founding partner at Jelly Digital Marketing and PR Agency. And he is also based in Langley right now. So welcome, Darian, to our session today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So today, Darian will talk to us about all that you need to know about digital marketing to get you started on your right path to growing online. This bootcamp is in support of entrepreneurs across the province of British Columbia. The session is recorded and will be shared in the Resilience program starting from tomorrow. So please don't worry if you don't have enough time to take all the notes of everything that Darian is saying today. I know it can be complicated and it can be a lot of information. The recording will be shared with you. I would also like to say a special shout out to all of our partners of the Resilience program. So thank you to the City of Campbell River, the City of Richmond, the Coast Capital Savings, the District of Squamish, City of Powder River, especially the Township of Langley, who has made this bootcamp available to all of you, the Sunshine Coast Credit Union, Van City, Vancouver Coast and Mountains Tourism Region, Yukon University, the Discovery Foundation, and Western Economic Diversification. All members of the previously mentioned communities have free access to the Resilience program. This program is a curation of many different masterclasses, courses, and content that relates to any topics relating to growing your business and maintaining resilience during this difficult time to some of you. So please know that this Resilience program is available to many of you. You can just sign up, and in there you will find a lot of the different recordings of previous webinars such as this one, and also other masterclasses. Topics range from how to cut expenses to how to plan your cash flow, to digital growth topics such as how to build your website, understanding the different pillars of digital marketing, SEO, paid ads, to how to build an amazing e-commerce website, to how to lead your team or maintaining a great diverse and remote team during this time where mostly everyone is kind of working remotely. So do join in and see if there's any topics that interest you. If the topics that we currently have is still not answering to your current challenges or questions, do let us know. And I would love to add these topics to the program in the future to make sure that we can serve and support all of you. The program also includes eligibility to join the Launch Challenge, which is a $10,000 current challenge that we're launching. When you join it, you have the chance to win $10,000 to launch either a new business, a new product or service offering, or an existing product or service in a new market. So if you look at the bottom of the screen right now, and Nima from our team will be able to put in to the chat box a link for you to be able to join the Resilience program in just a little bit. I would also like to tell you about the different tools that we're using today. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you will see an Ask a Question button, who Darian already put in a great question in there. Who is eating lunch during this session today? Do let us know who's eating lunch. Do let us know where you're also based in the chat box. We would love to know where you're based, your company name, and also what is your product or service so that Darian and myself can get to know you better and tailor our answers towards who you are. In the chat box, you can already see in your right is where you can put in your introduction or any other comments and chatting or comments regarding the presentation that you might have. Do send us your questions anytime that you have them. And then in the end of the presentation, also in between, Darian and I will make time to answer all of your questions. So put in anything that you have. I think we are about ready to start the session, Darian. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I totally could. I'm Darian, and I'm based here in Fort Langley. We have an agency that works with brands on their digital marketing growth and their PR growth. And we also have a school called Jelly Academy, where we train both internal teams on doing all things digital, all things marketing. And we also train students and those that want to get certified with Hootsuite and Google and Facebook and get a job, or those that are currently working in business and they want to get a raise in salary. So we do a lot of micro credentialing and we do a lot of digital marketing education. We love it. We have an amazing team that teaches all sorts of different courses, and we go really deep into SEO, digital ads, PR, social media, as each of those worlds within the digital umbrella have their own worlds within them. And then we recently launched a masterclass training program where you can sign up and you can get 2 to 3 new classes a month that are all the current, new, freshest training needs when it comes to anything digital marketing. So that's been really, really exciting. And I live here in Fort Langley with my wife and 4 children. I have a 2-year-old, she just became 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and 14-year-old. So it's a joy to be here. Thank you for hosting this, Spring and everyone. And without further ado, I think we should jump right in. And I think our focus today is just what are some great practical things you can take away. And I think that's what I'm most excited about is I'm going to tell you about some free tools, some very affordable tools, some tools that you can apply right away. And I think that's what we love doing here at Jelly. And cool bonus, we gave the offer to Spring where someone could volunteer their website. I don't know how she picked the company, but someone was picked out of everyone who is attending today. And we're actually going to do an SEO audit, an analytics audit, because I think that's the best way to learn how those work. So, but without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. Here we go. Screen sharing is working here. Technology is on our side today, which is amazing. So perfect. So make sure we also make sure that we've got the audio sharing on there as well. Share screen, Chrome tab, share audio. There we go. That's the one thing we learned earlier. Beautiful. So again, we're going to talk about 15. We have a limited amount of time, so I'm going to go as quickly, but as explain as much of it as I can. We've got a lot to cover, and we also are going to take a break, and which I'm excited, and give some room for Q&A. So number one thing for business owners, anything to do with digital marketing, this is like the foundation. If you are building a house, this is the concrete foundation, which is called Google Analytics. And more important than even just Google Analytics is setting up Google goals within analytics. You're going to see from the audit we performed recently, and that we're going to show you today, is that the person does have Google Analytics on their site, which is an amazing thing. So that's step one. That is incredible. It is a free tool. But 2, they had yet to set up Google Goals. And Google Goals, and the importance of Google Goals is Google Goals will tell you everything that you need to know about what the traffic is doing on your site, mostly around, are they completing a task? So if you build a website, if you look at your website like a pool table, you really want to think about, okay, what are the holes that we want the traffic to go into? And if you really have one big thing, you want them to buy your products, think of your pool table and you want to kind of saw one of the legs of your pool table and you want those balls to fall in that pocket. And so it's really important that as you're monitoring and measuring what is happening on your website, you're studying those goals. It's one thing, for example, to know, wow, I know how much traffic goes to my site. I know what the traffic does because that's what analytics tells you. It knows what cities they're coming from. You know what pages they visit when they come to your site. What goals allows you to do, it allows you to see, okay, those that take action, like sign up for an e-newsletter, purchase a product, show interest, spending more than 5 minutes on my site. What goals will tell you is, okay, we saw, let's say 10 goals completed this month. You're then able to look back and say, okay, where did that traffic come from? And then you're able to know, okay, we had a good amount of quantity of traffic. Let's say 100 people came to your site and 10 took an action. You want to know, where did the qualified traffic come from? And that's what's so important about goals. And being that it's a free tool and it's just a simple thing to set up on your site and within Google Analytics, there's this amazing quote: half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. So if you ever are to pursue doing more advertising and more promotions, you're able to use Google Goals as a litmus test, as a way to put your finger on the pulse of what's happening on your site. And more importantly, you're able to say, okay, most of our qualified leads are coming from these 2 websites or are coming from this type of traffic. I need to spend more time and more energy in those areas, because that's where I'm going to get a biggest return on my investment, of whether it's time or money or energy or whatever that looks like. We recently did this for an e-commerce brand, and we were very shocked to find, when we set up their goals and we were watching to see where traffic was coming from and where the conversions and the qualified traffic was coming from, there was this random website in Quebec that was sending almost kind of like 30% of their sales, and they didn't realize that's where it was coming from. And when we dug into it, we found this website that had done a review about their product, and it was in French, and it was a Quebecois mommy blogger who did this incredible review about this product, and they were sending an incredible amount of traffic. And because they had written a blog and a really honest review, like the best parts about this product, the downsides of the product, but mostly how much this product changed their lives, the people coming to the site were very qualified. They were primed, they were ready, they were warmed up to make a purchase. And so when they did come to the site, they made a purchase, which was amazing. Whereas other site, traffic that was coming in, whether it was Facebook ads, they were running Instagram ads, they were running other campaigns that was coming to the site. There was this site was amazing. And so what we were able to do then is actually follow up with the company and using Google Translate, write a message. But then we ended up realizing she spoke English very well. And so we spoke, went back and forth in English to say, hey, we'd love to do an ad with you and love to do more with you, because already just organically look at what you're able to do for this e-commerce brand. So, and I, even myself, running a B2B business, so we sell services to other businesses, I study the traffic sources all the time, the qualified traffic sources, and it changes almost every quarter. So every quarter and every month and almost every week, I'm in there actually saying, okay, where is our qualified traffic coming from? And are we spending the time, energy, and resources in those areas? And what more could we be doing to increase qualified traffic? Because I don't just want quantity of traffic, I want the right traffic coming to our site. So I think John Wanamaker would really love what's been happening with Google Analytics today, the accountability, the transparency that you're able to do today. Okay, number 2, Google My Business. If you have an iPhone or an Android, or maybe you got BlackBerry, whatever you got, Google My Business is a free app that you can download right into your phone. And this has been one of the most amazing resources over this last year. It is probably the most important social media channel that you need to be on. It is the important because 2 reasons. One, it's what shows up in that map pack, is what it's called, or the map results when you're Google searching for something, especially if you are providing a service that's, people often search for, whether it's a plumber, electrician, something that you need right away, a service that you need, or a product that you need right away. You want to show up in those map pack listings. So it's great for SEO. And the second thing is that Google My Business has updated so you can add videos, you can add offers, you can update what's happening in your organization. Encouraging people to review on Google My Business is really crucial, because Google now is actually reading your reviews and then deciding and judging where to place you in the Google ranking, depending on what cities are mentioned in your reviews and what services or products are mentioned in your reviews. So Google My Business, again, a free product, a free resource given to us by Google. And again, in a sense, playing that Google game and making sure that you show up in the Google ranking. Google My Business, if you have very limited energy, limited resources, and you're thinking of what social media channels should I be on, Google My Business, I would say, should be number 1 priority. And the great thing is that there's a desktop version as well, or a mobile version, but go in, they'll actually walk you through how to optimize it. You can actually even note, this is a cool update. Again, Google My Business is always doing updates. You can actually note if you are a female-led run company. You can mark that in your business, which is really cool. You can mark if you are LGBTQ friendly, and you can mark that in your business. Some really cool advancements that Google My Business has done. Again, enabling all of these small businesses right across Canada, right here in BC, right here in Langley, to be able to optimize and grow their business. And so Google has really invested in the tool quite a lot. Here's a random, you can actually get a free website through the tool. You can actually go into Google My Business, the app, and actually launch a website thanks to Google My Business. So again, they're constantly updating it, upgrading it. And I'm, again, thoroughly amazed at what they're able to do for free. Okay, here's a big one, social media channels, but which ones? I mentioned earlier, number 1, be on Google My Business. There's so many though. There's new ones coming, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Where should I go? And again, there's these amazing graphs like this that you've probably seen, comparing them all from Reddit to LinkedIn, Google My Business, Snapchat, YouTube. But what we've done, and just to have a little fun, instead of just showing you a graph and talking about which each of them does and what each of them are best for, because they each kind of have their own areas, we put together a video of what would it look like if we speed dated every one of these social media channels and personifying their personality. So as you think of your brand should really connect with the social media channel that's best for your brand. And so we are explaining the social media channels in a way through a little video as if you speed dated all the various social media channels. So here is part 1. Go. Hey, good to meet you. You're okay that I filmed this, right? Hey everyone, I'm here at Speed Dating. This is awesome. Here's my business card. I need to know if you're a good photographer. It's really important if we're in a relationship that you know how to take photos of me. I hang out with a lot of reporters, a lot of politicians. If this works out for our first date, I even made a sweater for you. Have some good discussions, arguments, disagreements, learn a lot of new things, and overall, find some great memes. Is it me you're looking for? Yeah, we just met, but hey, why not? Let's be friends. By the way, did you see that other person here dressed all in yellow? There is some amazing outfits that they were wearing that I'm definitely gonna copy. I love cats. So where do you work? Are you guys looking for any new employees? I love following people. Sometimes I just follow people home. I know, I just stopped doing that. All right, what do you think of this look? No? Okay, I got another, just so you know, I don't poke people as much anymore. I could plan our whole wedding. I could do all the decorations for our wedding. I know, I'm getting too far, but you know, I've got a whole group of people I hang out with, young and old. So I'm hip with the kids. So if you have kids, that's cool. I'm gonna answer a lot of questions for you. Give me any question and I'll have an answer for you within 24 hours. Did we go to high school together maybe? Oh, and if you prefer that guy's look, we can even swap faces. I know we don't know each other very well, but do you mind introducing me to one of your connections? By the time we're done taking the photos, the meal's typically cold, but you gotta get used to that. Hashtag cold food. I love that someone else organized this, but there's definitely some changes I make. I can give you some references if you're interested, but I feel like this was a great connection. Come on. And no, again, I will not tell you my real name. Got 4 more events to go to tonight. I went to 3 earlier today. Thanks everyone. Remember to like and subscribe. Not all social media is the same. Know your brand, make your match for a successful relationship. Hey, is there a hashtag for this? Hashtag speed dating? And so that was part 1.
Hilarious.
Thank you. Thank you. It would be a very weird evening, I know, of dating each of those people, but we sometimes spend our days on those social channels. So we thought we'd show that.
Good to know them.
Yes, yes. One thing note, and just speaking of Google Analytics and Google Goals with social media, we worked for this one brand. It was a food product company that was a shake mix, and they were on every channel. They were spending all this energy and time on every channel. And we went in and studied some Google Goals and did a kind of an analytics survey and kind of audit for them. And this was the biggest shocking thing we found was they found that of all the social channels and even spending, more than 6 figures on, influencers on Instagram and influencers on YouTube, the #1 referring site that converted into a sale. So that's traffic that came from a social media channel that actually made a purchase was Pinterest. And so again, food product, predominantly the main shopper in the family was the female who was on Pinterest looking at recipes, looking at smoothie recipes. And, this company had done some posts. They hadn't even done advertising on Pinterest. They had done some organic posts about recipes using their product. And those that were looking up smoothie recipes and smoothie inspiration is what Pinterest is amazing for. They were typically on a desktop computer, so more comfortable making a purchase on a desktop. They then went from Pinterest to the site and made a purchase, an impulse purchase, because they were hungry and thirsty after seeing all these photos of food and smoothies and inspirational posts, and they made a purchase. And so something that they weren't even aware of, and a very large company, but they hadn't been auditing and studying their analytics closely enough to actually realize, wow, all that money and energy and time we're spending on all these other channels, when really the biggest qualified social media channel for us was Pinterest. So I made this video and I got some feedback saying I missed some channels. And so again, when you hear the term social media, we're looking at any form of media that you can socialize with. So any form of media that you're interacting with, engaging with. And so this next video was part 2, which includes all the others that we missed, including, you're probably wondering, who organized this amazing speed dating event? And so this one actually includes the organizer. Welcome to Speed Dating. I'm your organizer. We've scheduled tonight so that you can foster relationships and build connections with the people around you. You are so lucky to have found me. I know you may have met people like me, and you've heard that we clutter up people's lives. We're noisy, we get in the way. Well, I'm not like that. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Tonight's speed dating. We've tried this before, it didn't go well, but I think tonight we're gonna pass this level. I know all the best date spots, the best pizza in town, the best pasta, the best places to go dancing. I know when they're open, I know where they are, and I have an incredible sense of direction.
Why would you need anything else? I can take you shopping, you can buy real estate, you can book a lawyer. What's your favorite fruit?
On our first date, would you like to go to the movies, going dancing, or have dinner?
Watermelon, pears, anything.
I've been keeping tabs on what everyone's saying about you. So far, you're doing great. Okay, I'm gonna tell a bit about myself. Well, that didn't go well. The last person I love sending letters to, they unsubscribed. I mean, I almost didn't get invited to this event, but I think I'm one of the most important people around here. How do you think that went? Don't worry, we'll give you a report card at the end of the night. Please tell me your name and number, and if we get disconnected, I will follow up with you.
Just give me 1 second. 等一下，我现在在约会，我感觉他很喜欢我。Sorry about that.
I've seen some of your options here, and I think what's so special about me is I'm not going anywhere. I mean, look at Vine. Who knows what happened to him? Hey, one thing we're known for here is engagements. The amount of engagements that have happened because of these evenings we put on is incredible. All right, this next part, I'm gonna ask about their interests. There we go. All right. Thank you for chatting with me today. Did I answer all the questions you had for me? And hey, if you don't claim me, someone else might. I knew those two would end up together. Not all social media is the same. Know your brand, make your match for a successful relationship. Hello, are you still there? All right. That was Alex Wan, good friend of mine from Periphery Digital, who decided to come in and represent WeChat for all the WeChat lovers and that are here. WeChat got represented, so there we go. Alex did an amazing job. A couple of things of note in the, as much as the video has some nice tongue-in-cheekness to it, some important things to keep in mind. We chose Hootsuite, a Vancouver-based company that helps you organize and plan and schedule your social media content. It's why they were there. They're great. There's other options like Later, also Vancouver-based, but just the idea being is that it monitors, it measures, it helps you listen and better understand your social channels. Other thing of note that I think is an important one that you may have caught, but emails and email marketing. If you think about all of the channels that you can be on, it's much like I grew up in a place called Tawasin, and a good friend of mine had a place on the water. It was amazing, right? It overlooked the ferries and the coal ports and all that stuff. But he was on what was called like 100-year lease. He was on leased land. So he didn't actually own the land, but he owned the property on the land. And so when you think of all the channels that you're on, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn, you're on leased land. You don't own your Facebook page. You don't own your Instagram page. You don't own any of the channels, LinkedIn. And so tomorrow, next week, next month, they could change the algorithm and change what people are going to see. They could shut down, like Vine. We mentioned Vine. Vine was I think, an amazing social media channel. And there was someone like Zach King, this amazing magician who grew his following and grew his brand on Vine until the day they shut down. And then he had to start from scratch on another channel. And so keeping that in mind, and especially those with limited time, energy, or resources, email marketing is the #1 social channel outside of Google My Business that you should be on. And the reason being is that you will always own those emails. You will always have those emails. You will always be able to reach out and connect to those people via email, no matter what happens to the algorithm. Your emails may be not very interesting. Your subject lines may not be as provocative, so you don't get opened, and you may lose the click-through rate of people clicking on your emails because it's not as much things to click on. But email marketing and having a consistent email going out, whether it's once a month, once a quarter, and the engagement there, especially when it comes to e-commerce. We're constantly and consistently seeing e-commerce brands where email marketing is the #1 social channel for conversion. So again, whether it's people signing up for a little pop-up for a 10% off, or whether it's following up with past customers, email marketing is crucial to growing your business and growing that community outside of the primary social channels. And if you are on those social channels, you're like, well, what do I do now? I put all this money and energy into growing my Facebook page. The big thing is use those channels to encourage people to sign up for your e-newsletter, sign up for special offers, offer them some sort of carrot, some sort of incentive to leave the mainstream social channels where you are leasing your land there and come join a channel that you own.
Welcome to.
All right. Next one to consider. It's an amazing, again, free tool. I love free. Who's with me on the free? I think free is good. But when it comes to SEO, and this is on-site SEO, the way that your site is structured and built, Neil Patel has put together a tool called Ubersuggest, which again, if you see the link here and copy down that URL, it's an amazing tool that you can put your website into, and then it will tell you tips, ideas, kind of little suggestions on ways to make your site rank better. There's tons of other great tools out there that cost money. We internally use Ahrefs, which is a more robust tool for finding kind of more off-site SEO. And just kind of a quick kind of description about the difference. If you think of Google as a mean girl in high school. So if you've seen Lindsay Lohan's Mean Girls, this is great. Just imagine that, the mean girls in that hallway, judging your website walking down the hallway. And Google is doing two things these days. Google is looking at your website, what brands names your clothes that are on your clothes, your glasses, your hair, your teeth. It's looking on your website and judging you and saying, okay, that's what your website is about. That's what your brand is about. And that's where tools like Ubersuggest, SEMrush, Moz, there's some great tools that will kind of audit and tell you what's going on your website. And you can make those fixes and changes. And again, it will affect your ranking to a certain degree. The second thing that Google is doing to monitor and measure and judge you as mean girl Google judges your site as it walks down the hallway is who's talking to you in the hallway and what are they talking to you about? As your site walks down the hallway, are they talking to you about cat sweaters in West Van? Are they talking about cat sweaters in Nanaimo? You know, what are they talking to you about? What cities are they mentioning? What brands are they mentioning? What services are they mentioning? And then Google uses that to be like, okay, that's what they're all about. That's what that brand is about. That's the authority that that website has. And depending on the level of the person who talks to you, their level of what's called domain authority or how cool they are in that high school, because again, mean girl Google is like a high school girl that's very judgmental. They're going to rank that level of link of conversation, and that's going to help you rank in the Google ranking. So again, two important things to think about. But just as you get started in SEO, as you kind of get your feet wet, Ubersuggest is a really, really great tool. And then going from there, if you can figure out how to do it yourself, great. If you want to work with an SEO agency, there's some great ones locally, which is awesome, that can then make those on-site changes. And then it's working with a PR firm to get you those off-site backlinks. Ahrefs is what their reports look like. Again, Ahrefs is focusing on the kind of backlinking and who's backlinking to you and what are they backlinking to you about, ahrefs.com. And then moving on to number 5. We talked about this earlier when it came to email marketing. Grab an email grabber to your website. There's a free one at HubSpot.com. The reason it's free is that HubSpot has a lot of other great free tools, and they also have stuff that they want to sell you. And so they offer this free tool with the idea that you get to know their brand and fall in love with them. Mailchimp, actually really cool. If you're using Mailchimp, they've just added an email grabber to their kind of host of resources. So Mailchimp also has a free email grabber. And so it allows you to say, hey, 10% off your first order. And I'm sure you've seen that on every e-commerce site under the sun. The big ones use it. You know, some people find them annoying, but at the same time, for those that use it and want to sign up for email and get that 10% off or get the latest news from your company, it is totally, totally worth it. This next one is utilizing your employees. So this is a video from a tool, again, that Hootsuite has created, but there's some great free ways to do this just for small businesses, micro businesses. And if you do have employees, this is a really cool video to watch to inspire and encourage you of ways that you can get your employees to share content about your organization, because the algorithm of Facebook is probably 1 to 2% of your fans are going to see your organic posts. But how do you get your employees to share on their channels, and why it's so important to get your employees to share on their channels? And if it's not employees, maybe it's shareholders, maybe it's investors, maybe it's friends and family, why you want them to share about your brand on their social channels.
Every organization today wants to break through the noise and increase their reach on social media. And while many experiment with new strategies, few are tapping into one of the most powerful channels available to them, their very own employees. When you empower your employees to share your company's social messages to their friends and followers, your audience reach can be up to 10 times greater than your own channels. It's all about the numbers. Let's say your organization has 1,500 employees and 100,000 fans and followers on social media. The average message sent through your brand's social channels has the potential to reach a maximum of 100,000 people. But if each of your 1,500 employees were to share that same message to their networks, your audience reach would extend to over 1.1 million people. Your audience reach increases exponentially because of the number of people each individual employee is connected to on social media. And the best part is, 92% of your employees' followers are new to your brand. What's more, because messages shared by employees are more trusted by their friends and followers, they can receive up to 8 times more engagement and 24 times more reshares than when shared by your own channels. It all adds up to an incredible opportunity to get your message out to a bigger audience, and it's sitting right at your fingertips. The trouble is, most employees don't have a simple way to discover and share their company.
So that's the concept and the idea of amplifying your employees or volunteers or people you work with. I actually saw this. We shared this with an organization that had 1 staff, but they had about 6 volunteers. And so they just treated their volunteers like staff. And the best way to do it is as you plan your social media for the next month, or as you plan the content you put out, giving them access to whether it's a Google Doc, a Dropbox, Google Drive's one that's totally free, saying, here's the content we're going to use for social media next month. If you could share this on your channels yourself, that would be amazing. So it's one thing to repost something or share something from the corporate channel. It's another thing for them to post it directly to their account. And again, the trust factor, the influence factor is really huge. So something to consider, to think about as you engage and inspire and it really equip your employees to consider it. Again, we talked about this earlier in the video. Hootsuite is an amazing tool. They have a free version, which we really love, allowing people to schedule and pre-plan your social content a month in advance, which allows you to come up with ideas, come up with concepts, and really efficiently create content for social media so that when it comes to the day-to-day of running your business, you're not having to be on there every day doing a new post because you've pre-planned it, maybe say on the first of the month. So a great resource and a great tool for getting social content out there. And more importantly, which we love about it, it allows you to measure, monitor, and really listen to what people are saying about your brand and how you're engaging. Next tool, I can't speak highly enough about it. Canva, again, a free tool. The free version is amazing. They do have a paid version, but I don't think you really need it. Most don't, because the free version is so generous and so great. But both a desktop and a mobile version, allowing you to make infographics, social media graphics, flyers for totally free, and it makes you look like a pro. Our own graphic designers here at Jelly, I remember the first time them discovering Canva were really frustrated, annoyed, because they're like, I went to school for 4 years to do this. What is this thing? But what's great about Canva is it allows your social media channels, it allows your promotional materials, it allows your marketing materials, both offline and online, to be consistent and to look professional. And that's what I love about Canva. Well, at this point, we're on slide 8. We've got 7 more to go. So we're about halfway. I thought we'd take a pause, a break, whatever is needed to do some Q&A and also give yourselves a break, a little moment to digest all of the resources that were shared so far.
Thank you so much, Darian, for so much information. I totally agree regarding Canva being amazing. I've been using it for, I think, 3 years now, and still using the free. I haven't paid anything. It's amazing. You can even find photos, you can find infographics, you can redesign infographics, and I love the tool. So I would recommend it to anyone looking to create either slides or infographics or any kind of visuals for your companies. I have some questions for you, Darian, from the audience. So the first question that I've received is from Ines. So Ines says that, I hear mixed messages about Facebook advertising. What are the pros and cons, and would you recommend it for a business, and why?
Yeah, I can speak to Facebook. We are actually, I was on Facebook while in university, so I had a UVic account, and so I was there when it was just for university students, and then went on to be one of the early advertisers on it. And our agency is a Facebook ad agency, and so why don't we jump into the cons, right? I'm sure you've seen in terms of the road, but some of the cons would be Job titles aren't very accurate. People don't tend to update their job title, where LinkedIn is amazing for job titles. One of the things is like almost every month they're changing who and how you're allowed to advertise to people. So on the pro side, there's this amazing, I probably say the two forms of Facebook advertising that are worth it. One would be Facebook lead ads, because when you run a Facebook lead ads, you're not telling them to leave Facebook, first of all, which Facebook likes, so it's going to be cheaper. Secondly, when they hit, yes, I want to get more information and I want to learn more about your school or learn more about your product, learn more about your cooking school or whatever you do, you're getting accurate email addresses that are spelled correctly, because that's the email they put into Facebook to register. You're getting their accurate first name. And then you're able to get that information and run an ad campaign or run an email follow-up afterwards. You're then able to get their email address. So you put them in your drip campaign, which is an emails that are sent sequentially afterwards. You're able to follow up with them, whether even if it's a phone call. And so those are really powerful. But because they're so powerful, people have used them for bad. So as Uncle Ben would say to Peter Parker, his nephew, those with great power have great responsibility. And he went on to become Spider-Man. So that's pretty awesome. But those that have great power have also used it for bad. And so because of that, Facebook has made it so that certain industries can no longer use Facebook lead ads. So whether you are in real estate, that got canceled this last December. If you are in the debt industry, servicing debt, that got canceled last December. So I am watching and monitoring to see what other industries will use those incredible ad capabilities for evil and then get cut off. So again, the assumption is if you use it for good and you work in an industry that is using it for good, I'd say use it. It is very affordable. You can literally target females, 35 to 45 in New Westminster who like cats, and you want to sell your cat sweater company to them and promote your cat sweater company. And then if you want to, you can then target males, 45 to 70 in Edmonton and sell your cat sweaters there, because it's going to be a really cold winter. Better get your cat sweaters ready for your cats, right? Or whatever you want to do. And that's what's so great about Facebook and that targeting, because you can do age, gender. I don't think they can do this anymore. They actually, again, because it's changing. You used to even be able, you can change you have a marital status in Facebook. Again, we all know now that Facebook is no longer free. Yeah. And Facebook isn't free. The reason that they let you be on there for free is because you give them so much great information. So when people get engaged, if you have a wedding business or any sort of business that is in the wedding-esque industry, you can target engaged women, engaged men. And there used to be an ability, if someone went from married to single, used to be able to target divorcees, which is amazing. I don't think you can do that anymore. But that was amazing. It was powerful because, again, we were working on this development in Surrey. It was this housing development. And we found there was a lot of divorced men that were buying it. And so we were able to do this great campaign to divorced men thanks to Facebook ad targeting. Google search is totally different. So if you think of the con is Google search is when people have an intent. They intend something. They're looking for something. Whereas Facebook, you're not typically looking for something. So that's the benefit of Google search is you need a dentist, you need a doctor, you need a team building company, you need a caterer, you need some medicine, right? Then you go to Google and make those searches and the types of searches. So Facebook cannot do that. You're there because you're targeting who they are as a person. I hope that helps.
Sense. Thank you so much. Ines, let us know if you have any follow-up questions. I also have a related question, I guess, from Hilda. So it's also about Facebook. Hilda is very new to social media. Yesterday, I signed up with Facebook and started surfing ESL groups. After returning from a lunch break, I found out I had been locked out of Facebook. They said I had violated one of their rules. They asked me for a text number, but I don't even have a mobile phone or texting features on my landline. How can I access my account again? And I would also like to add another question to this, Darian, because I've heard from several businesses recently who've run a lot of Facebook ads. They grew their pages and suddenly they received this announcement that they violated a Facebook rule without them knowing any of them. And then somehow their account got blocked. And they tried to, reappealed it. And it wasn't successful. So is there anything that could help those businesses into reopening their Facebook ads account so that they can start running their Facebook ads again? Because I feel like a lot of people are investing a lot onto their Facebook page. And then suddenly one day Facebook gets back their lease. And what do you do?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So first of all, I can give the why that's happening is that Facebook is becoming uber sensitive to people that are doing bad things on Facebook, uber sensitive to bad ads, uber sensitive, whether it's political reasons or, just people using Facebook for bad. And so because of that, they've gotten crazy sensitive about the types of ads that are running. There's actually a Facebook group. It's a group within Facebook. It's a Facebook group that you can join. It's called Boost with Facebook Canada. And so on there is the best place to get customer service support. And so I'll just put the link in the chat. And I would go into that group and post in there, because I think one of the negative sides of Facebook is that their customer service isn't the best. It's not like you're getting someone who's responding right away. You're not going to get someone on the phone. But they decided to create a group for small businesses in Canada where you can actually join the group and talk directly and interact directly with someone from Facebook, which is great. So that would be my number one recommendation for getting the best customer service you can get from Facebook.
Would you recommend Hilda to do the same for her locked business personal? I guess this is a personal.
Yeah, this one's more
Facebook
business related. Your personal one, you have to go to kind of hey, I have a problem here, and where something might have happened when you were away, or you might have accidentally done something. So my biggest encouragement would be get a new email address and start another account from scratch. Otherwise, again, they're being very sensitive about what you post, what you say, and what you do on Facebook.
Also, Hilda, I know that you said you might not have a mobile number. How about asking your friends or any of your family member? I know that Facebook might allow, I'm not sure, but they might allow a person to have several mobile numbers. So maybe you can still use someone else's mobile number to just get the verification code. Let's try with that. Thank you so much, Darian. I have another question from you, a lot of questions about Facebook and about Hootsuite. So this question is from Kathy. Are there restrictions to reach using Hootsuite in reference to organic posts?
No, not that I'm aware of. No.
So if you use Hootsuite to schedule posts, it's the same reach that you might get if you are just not scheduling posts and posting it yourself, right?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to consider is more, there's certain channels that you can't post to from Hootsuite. So and so you just have to know that Hootsuite can do a ton of stuff. It's amazing and schedule a ton of stuff, but there's some stuff you still have to do manually. So just be prepared to have to you still have to manually upload videos to LinkedIn, for example. You can't schedule video uploads to Hootsuite.
I see. Thank you so much. Another question is from Megan. Pros and cons to using Facebook Business Suite versus Hootsuite.
Sorry, ask that again.
Pros and cons to using Facebook Business Suite versus Hootsuite.
Yeah, basically Hootsuite is more of like a scheduling device, and you can, it's more agnostic would be the best term. So you can use Hootsuite to schedule on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the channels. And it's a really kind of great device in that sense. It's more kind of like this organizer of your social channels. Whereas Facebook allows you to do that simply for Facebook, and thankfully now also Instagram, because Facebook owns Instagram.
Thank you so much. I think we have 2 more questions before we can start the presentation again. So how would you recommend encouraging customers to leave reviews on Google My Business? We are B2B and don't sell directly from our website.
Yeah, I think the biggest encouragement is maybe go to the last 5 people that you have worked with. And we've done that. We're a B2B brand as well, and just said, hey, would you mind reviewing us here? And actually for us, we have a couple trade websites. We have Clutch and UpCity, which in our world are really important trade websites. And so we say, hey, do you mind reviewing us in one of these 3 places? We'd really love that. And ideally they do that. Some people don't because they're busy. Some people do. So expect an 80% return on ask. So if you're hoping for, 8 reviews, ask 10. So people, and just know that they're busy, or, they may not want to go to Google My Business, but they feel comfortable going to Clutch. And some people may not want to go to Clutch, but they'll go to UpCity. And so we just allow also people to have options, which is also great.
I would also add that for me as a customer, I feel like if I am provided with very good service, then I'm more likely to leave a review, as Darian said. If a business asks me to leave a review for them and they make me very happy, then I'm I want to say thank you in any way. So that would be by leaving a review. So do provide very good service And then most of the time, people will be willing to leave you a review. Also, send them the link for Google Business, because sometimes people ask me to leave a review without giving me the link to do so. And it's kind of hard as a customer to like go up there and then trying to search for your own business and then trying to leave a review. So give them or facilitate the way that they can give you a review the best as you can. Send them the direct link to do so. I also have another question from you from Mara Parno. So are you covering using Facebook or IG shopping channels in this session?
We are not. Yeah. But
if you have any specific questions about it, I think you can ask, but we are not planning to cover it, Mara. Sorry, Darian, did you want to add anything?
But those are amazing. Yeah, like the I don't know if you've been following too as well, but like the Shopify Pinterest team up is amazing. The way that you can integrate Shopify with Facebook. Again, those are kind of a lot more technical pieces, but the integrations between those two are amazing right now. And so again, it's the ability to get your social channels integrated with your e-commerce. But I think we try to keep it where if you're not on Shopify, or if you're maybe using WooCommerce, or if you're using Wix shopping, or if you're using Squarespace shopping, whatever you're using, I think today was mostly about make sure that you're using these principles and these ideas and really your Google Analytics. The other big one to keep in mind is on the analytics and on the goals is Facebook has amazing tracking. Make sure that you're tracking all of your sales, because again, the cool thing, here's a fun thing about a pro of Facebook ads. If you run an ad campaign for shopping, for example, you can actually have it so that Facebook will automatically monitor the qualified leads for you. And if they're noticing a certain type of ad is converting a lot of traffic and becoming a sale, they'll then increase that type of ad and decrease the others for you automatically. They will do the work for you. So it's pretty awesome and pretty powerful that way. So they're always learning. So think of your ads as always learning, always growing. Not like the gremlins where if you feed them after midnight, they turn into these evil gremlins. It's more like they're growing and getting smarter and sharper and more targeted.
I think one of the Spring also had help from Jelly Marketing with one of our marketing related stuffs. And then I think I was working with Sullivan, I think, Darian. And then Sullivan told me that for an ads campaign to work really well, we have to leave enough time and also enough budget for the ads to learn. What would you recommend to be, I guess, an optimized ad budget to start spending on before you know whether that ad is really working?
I do you could say $1,000 for 3 months. It's kind of a good learning way. You could do 500 for 3 months, and it depends on, especially if it depends if you're like 500 for 3 months is good. If you're like, I'm targeting lower mainland people for this type of company and this targeted type of group. So that's where if you know who you can target and who you want, it's pretty awesome. And on that note, a second really powerful Facebook ad that you can run right now, and it also coincides with why you want to gather email addresses, is called a Lookalike Audience. So again,
I love that.
Lookalike Audience. It's so cool because you can go to these really big branding companies and they'll charge you $20,000, $30,000 downtown and be like, these are your buyer personas. And they'll send you these 3 photos and it'll always be like Sharp Sally, tailored Tommy, right? But the cool thing is once you're an established business and you've got more than say 500 customers or even more, you can upload those email addresses into Facebook. Again, this gets kind of creepy, but you upload them into Facebook. And then it studies those 500 people, what they do on Facebook, what time they log in, their interests, all their habits on Facebook. And then it says to you as a company a few days later, it says, hey, you know what? We studied those 500 people. Here, we found another 600 people who are just like them, similar habits, similar interests. Let's market to them because these are people that are converted people. And they always are the most amazing people to market to because you know that Facebook has studied creepily how precise and what sort of lifestyles they have, and they're probably good customers for your brand.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Darian. I love using Lookalike too. It's amazing once you have a few customers, 500 or 600 customers, emails that you can use and test it out. I think we still have some questions, but we can leave these couples of questions until after the presentation, Darian.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to go back to share my screen. I'm going to share my Chrome tab. Here we go. We talked about Canva. It's wonderful. Talk. I can't encourage having a chat on your site enough. You probably saw my depiction of chat in that video where I had the little earphone thingy in. But chat shows that you're a brand that's available 24/7. You're interested in who they are as a person. Talk.to is a free one that you can try out and just see if it's working for your organization. And it goes directly into your phone so you can monitor it and engage with people that way. If you want to kind of upgrade, there's an amazing tool called liveadmins.com that we encourage. We've got it on our own site. We've probably got about 20 of our clients who have it on their sites, but it is an amazing draw for getting people to convert. Part of the reason why it's so good is if someone is at work, in a work environment where there's other people around, or if they're at home in bed and they don't want their partner to hear them on the phone, and they don't feel comfortable filling out a contact form, they love the idea of chatting with someone. So there's this whole generation now that was used to ICQ and MSN Messenger. And so offering a chat feature, which again is a form of social media to your people who visit your site, is really, really awesome. And it's really cool to see the response and engagement that comes. Hotjar is another great tool. This one actually allows you to watch people and where they go on your site. So where their mouse scrolls, what they're clicking on. It allows you to really dive deep into what are people doing when they're on your site so that you can adjust your site accordingly. Again, it's kind of creepy, but also really awesome if you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I fine tune my site so I can get more conversions and more converting traffic that does sales on my site. Another one that we love is called CallRail. So this is kind of merging both offline and online world. So much as we can say everything is accountable, but what about phone calls and what about flyers and what about postcards? CallRail allows you to track and monitor every phone number that you've ever put out there. So whether it was a postcard, whether it was a doorknob thingy, whatever it was, whatever it is that you are doing, if you have a CallRail number on there, CallRail will tell you how many times that number was called. You can even record and monitor the quality of those calls. But more importantly, whatever campaigns you're running online, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and if your call to action is call us, CallRail is really crucial because you want to measure and monitor what ad platform and what ad strategy is getting you the most calls. We mentioned earlier, but Mailchimp is probably the email platform of choice that we'd say. They have an amazing free trial. They do have that pop-up already. They have the ability to do what's called a drip campaign. So those that are in B2B, it's really important. Those that are in B2C, it's also really great where you're able to have someone sign up for your newsletter, whether it was for that first 10% off or whether it was they just want more information about you. And you can automatically send them a series of 5 emails or 3 emails that let them know about your business, who you are, what your organization does. And by the time you get to them on the phone or meet with them over Zoom or whatever that looks like, they've already know a lot about you and they feel like they have a relationship because you've sent them automated emails. And it's really great because you can then go into that first call and that first meeting knowing that they have some foundation to who you are and what your company's about. Hype Auditor, again, if you start to say, you know what, I think I am really interested in working with maybe some influencers and some Instagrammers, Hype Auditor is a really great tool that you're allowed to put their Instagram channel into and measure and track to see, okay, are they a legitimate person to work with? Do they have legitimate followers? Do they have really good engagement? And Hype Auditor is really awesome as you're trying to figure out, okay, do we give away a free meal to this person if they're going to post about it? Do we give away a free, sample to this person? Hype Auditor is an amazing tool that allows you to filter out those that have maybe bought their followers or those that really don't have that engagement that you need to ensure that everyone you work with is the high quality influencer that you want to work with. One that we love is MailTrack. If you are sending press releases out, if you are sending pitches out, if you are doing any sort of sales over email, MailTrack tracks it all for you. Again, if you suffer from any form of anxiety, I'd encourage not to use it because it also can be very crazy because you're like, I just saw someone open my email. I know what they clicked on my email. I know they forwarded my email. I know they read it 7 more times. Why haven't they responded? But MailTrack allows you to actually say, okay, well, I know that I can actually do a valid follow-up because they have read my email. They have clicked on my email. I can follow up with a much more informed way. You probably don't want to say, hey, I know that you opened it. I know that you clicked on it at this time. And I know that you looked at it on a desktop computer versus your mobile phone. But it allows you to have a much more informed follow-up in the sales process. Another tool that we love, if you ever kind of hit a block, get frustrated as you're doing blog writing and trying to figure out what to write about when it comes to your industry, Answer the Public is an amazing tool that allows you to put in a subject, whether it's chocolate or whether it's cat sweaters or whatever your brand does, and it searches the internet and it looks at what are the commonly asked things when it comes to that topic. What are all the search terms? And so then when you can think like Aladdin and think, okay, 2 steps or 1 step ahead of the people that are Google searching, and you can write those blog posts that answer those questions, then when someone does answer that question, your blog post pops up. Last summer, You may remember, 2 drinks came out. Actually, this was 2 summers ago now. Nude and Neutrel, these 2 vodka sodas. They looked the same. They tasted very similar. They both were from Vancouver. It was very confusing. And so I wrote a simple blog post that said nude versus Neutrel. Again, the rest of the summer, anytime someone Google searched nude versus Neutrel, our blog post came up. We were looking at 2,500 to 3,000 unique visitors who came to our site a month because of that blog post. And we continue to this day, to get traffic to our site because of that blog post. So again, think though about things that you want people to actually search for that have to do with your brand versus nude and Neutrel drinks, even though they are delicious. Summer is coming. Summer may be here even today. We got some sun this morning. So think about the things that you want to be known for as a brand and an organization. And this is a really helpful tool. Great thing about blogging these days is Google loves listicles. And a listicle is an article in the form of a list. So you can think of 5 best cat sweater companies to work with, 3 best, vitamins to take for, stress, 7 best blank, 2 best this. Google loves it because that typically, as people Google search, they're Google searching, best plumber to work with in Langley, best dentist in Tawasin. So think about those terms. And if you could have that as a blog, that's what's going to show up in the Google ranking, or the area that you see in your Google searches. People also ask. People also ask is an amazingly powerful tool that allows you to see what people are searching, and Google puts it there so that you also know what people are also asking, to kind of proactively see if that search term was better than what you searched yourself. So going on, those that are into and like podcasts, we've got a show that comes out every week, actually sometimes more than once a week, where we interview folks, whether it's from Google, YouTube, Reddit. We got Pinterest coming up, someone from Peloton coming up, but we get the best and the brightest from them and share it with small business owners right across the world. So Marketing News Canada, if you're looking for marketing tips, marketing insights from some of the biggest brands in the world that apply for small businesses, Marketing News Canada, anywhere you can find your podcast, it's available. Jelly Academy, I mentioned earlier, we've got a program with the government. 60% is covered by WorkPC, which is amazing. We also do corporate training and general training as well, if you're looking to dive deeper into some of these topics when it comes to Jelly Academy. Next, we also have built a thing. If you've seen Masterclass with Malcolm Gladwell and Margaret Atwood, we also built a Masterclass that offers 2 to 3 new courses a month where you can learn about some of the deep dives. We do one specifically, deep dive of just optimizing your Google My Business listing. And so it's a 45-minute session that you can do on demand just on Google My Business. So something to check out as well. We're going to open up for questions. But before we do, I'm going to do one more really cool thing. Because we had an amazing volunteer, we're actually going to do an actual SEO audit on someone's actual website and company. So, which is very exciting. So I'm just going to go here, share my screen again, go to my Chrome tab. Here we go. So I'm just going to go view, present mode. So I'm just going to go through this, and I assume you're on the call. So we're going to talk about your brand. And she was kind enough to actually allow us to use your website as a guinea pig, as they say. I don't know why they use the term guinea pig. I guess guinea pigs were used a lot in lab testing. Is that why? Do you think that's?
I have no idea.
Okay.
And I'm curious. I'll Google it later. Darren, maybe you can write a post about it on the blog.
So first thing we did was an Hrefs audit. And so we found that there was a domain rating of 18 with 50 referring domains linking to your site. And so again, that's an 18 out of 100. The goal here is to get you higher. And so 50 domains. So basically you got 50 people talking to your website in the hallway. 50 people are saying hi to you, are saying, hey, that's what you're all about. So again, the goal here is to get it from 50, ideally get it up to 500. Again, this is, typically when you're at 50, you're probably a newer company, probably new in the last year, maybe last 6 months, this company was created. But again, what it's saying, and the reason that Google is looking more to referring domains is that people in the past used to be able to just be really good coders and develop a really beautiful looking site code-wise, but they weren't a legitimate business. And so Google is trying to balance between, okay, how do we look at sites that are really well made and really professional and talking a lot about the thing that people are Google searching, because their purpose of life, Google's purpose is to serve you the websites that are actually going to help you. And so they also are taking into consideration who's talking about this brand. Are they an authority on that subject? So going through here, next page here, Screaming Frog audit. So this is going through all the technical parts of the site. So these are the meta descriptions, which is all of the language and the way that the site was coded. So as Google bots scan the site, this is what they're reading. So right now there's 62 pages on the site that actually aren't telling Google what they're about. There's 82 pages on the site that are just a duplicate of another meta description. So that's an opportunity to actually have a unique meta description to say to Google, this is what we're all about. Alt text, H1 tags are missing. Again, opportunities to tell Google what you're about as the Google bots scan your site. There's 2 broken links. So again, you want to make sure that you don't have broken links because you want to say to Google, hey, in the same way, if you walk by a house and it's got a few broken windows, you're probably like, does someone live there? So it's another indication to Google to say, hey, is this site still active? Is this a site I should serve people when they Google search that topic? But overall, the SEO Site Checkup audit was a 96 out of 100, which is pretty amazing. So they are doing some amazing things right. So again, this is just ways to get you from like awesome to even more awesomer. So I love that they volunteered. They probably knew they were awesome. So they're like, I want to volunteer because I'm going to show off how so great I am. So kudos to your site. It's pretty awesome. So some other technical fixes you could do, just fixing up your inline CSS. The Google Search Console Webmaster Tool setup just needs to be added, which is something to consider. So these are the high priority items. So keyword research and optimization, which would affect your missing meta descriptions. So again, adding those words to your meta descriptions and fixing the duplicate ones, and then adding the Google Search Console Bing Webmaster Tool setup. So these are just more low priority ones that have some effect on your Google ranking, but not a big one. And then this is the important one for you. I mentioned earlier, but you have analytics set up, but no goals. So make sure you add goals to your site. And when it comes to the conversion, and a simple way to do it is you add the Google goal tag to the thank you page after every time someone makes a purchase, and you can set up different types of goals, whether they sign up for an e-newsletter, and that's going to really educate and inform you going forward to grow your business. Another one would be filters. So again, there's bots and spiders that do come onto your site. So you can add more of those below. Again, you can even filter out your own IP. So if you go to the site, it doesn't track that and monitor that as a site visitor. So some corporations and companies use that for their head office, or as we're remote right now, some people do. The major people that go to the website, they turn them off as a filter because they don't want to track their own employees going to their site. So one thing to consider, and which I find fascinating, is where your traffic sources are coming from. So the top traffic sources are actually social media, direct, and then organic. So again, this is probably one of the most shocking. Typically, it's organic is number 1, social is a lot lower, and direct is number 2. So it's almost like flipped what is the norm. So your social engagement, your social campaigns are amazing. So I'm going to assume you're running some social ads right now because your social is so high that push people to your website. People are knowing your domain name and typing it in directly. But organically, I think just with those fine-tuned pieces you can do with organic SEO, I think you could get some big wins when it comes to your on-site. And then I think the big one is going to be to up your organic traffic come to your site is getting those off-site PR recommendations, those news websites, those bloggers, those influencers linking to your site. And again, alerting Google that that's what your site is about. So it increase your organic search traffic. But overall, it's pretty cool to see that 42% of your website traffic is coming from social media. So that's just some back end work on a site, which is very fun to see. Very interesting to see the back end. Thank you again to our volunteer for providing that opportunity to actually do an audit, quick audit on a local business here.
Thank you so much, Darian, for the audit. And thank you, Jessica, for volunteering.
Awesome.
Darian, I have a few other questions for you from the audience. And everyone, please put in your question if you have any other questions in here. We'll go about answering your questions right now. So the first question that I have for you is from I Hear You. What is the best way to use Facebook Pixels and how to use it?
Yeah, the main purpose of Facebook Pixels is tracking, goal tracking. So put it in the thank you page after a purchase is made, putting it into a thank you page after someone signs up for an e-newsletter. Those would probably be the 2 biggest ones. I don't know what else you'd want to track. Maybe you want to track people who sign up, download your white paper. Maybe you provide a resource. People who, I don't know what else they would do on your site. Whatever you want to track on your site is what the pixels are for. And then Facebook learns, okay, what are the type of people that are converting? And Facebook Pixel is just the code that allows you to also monitor the ads that are running and actually help you run better and stronger ads.
Sounds great. Thank you. I've also just put in a link, a Facebook help link, how to install a Facebook pixel into the chat box, so that later on, if you want to learn about how to install it onto your website, follow that link and see how you can get your Facebook pixel. Thank you, Darian. I have another question from Mara. Can we incentivize reviews without being in breach of Facebook or other social media rules?
Oh, sorry, explain that again, sorry.
Can we incentivize reviews without being in breach of Facebook or other social media rules?
Yeah, the big one, like back in the day, it was mostly like Yelp that would get upset. Like if all of a sudden Yelp saw that you put like, all of a sudden they got 10 reviews in one big rush, they would often actually push reviews and they would hide the reviews on you. We've seen it where someone's like, if you review me and send me a screenshot, I'll give you a $25 Amazon gift card. There's no real way to actually track and monitor to see how Facebook can regulate that or monitor that. It's more of just like it's just a right thing to do. Like if you're incentivizing people who don't like your organization or who never been to your organization and you're offering them a gift to review you because you're like, you don't know me or you're my cousin and I'm going to give you $25 to review my company, even though you've never bought a cat sweater and you actually are a dog person. There's just the more of the ethical thing to think about. But at the same time, otherwise, there's no real ways to monitor that. Because the other thing that's also a gray area ethically is there's a tool that allows you to actually be like, hey, how did we do as a company? And it's called the Net Promoter Score, so an NPS. And if you say, you were a 7 out of 10, or you were a 10 out of 10. So what they do is that anyone who's like 7 and above, they'll send you to a site and be like, please review us here. But anything who is 7 and below or 6 and below, they'd be like, tell us why. How can we fix that? So they actually don't let people or encourage people who don't like the company to do reviews. They only want awesome people, like people who love them to do reviews. The rest, they're like, how can we fix it? How can we help you?
Sounds great. Noted. Thank you. I would also add, I think TripAdvisor, I'm not sure if they still do that right now, but I think they're the same as Yelp. So I think they have some policies against a brand giving gifts or something to encourage reviewers. So you should really check with each of the social media channels that you want to make sure that you're not violating any of their policies. For TripAdvisor, I think for a brand that I used to work with in Vietnam, what they do is that you can't incentivize by giving out stuffs, but you can still provide really great service and encourage people to like, oh, if you're happy, please leave us a review and it helps us get to know new customers or something.
Yeah. I'm part of this thing called, it's kind of fun, it's like Google local guides. And so I'm incentivized as a reviewer to like do more reviews and add more photos and do questions because I'm in this ridiculous club. And it used to be called, Yelp also had it was called like the Yelp Elite. Whereas if you do a lot of reviews and spend way too much time reviewing stuff, which I have, it's like a hobby of mine. Some people like do other stuff that's probably awesome, like knitting and yarning. I like doing reviews of places. And so I've made it to like level 7 but it's very hard to get to level 8, but I'm in this like club of level 7ites, and supposedly in America, at least, you get sent socks and stuff. But in Canada, they don't. I think they give us like storage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I always wonder for Yelp, do you actually get free meals or something once you get to that level?
So on the flip side, so we do PR for a restaurant, and the cool thing is there's a Yelp community manager, and so you can go to and be like, hey, we want to invite all the Yelp elites to a new restaurant opening, and they're awesome, and they do that. And the same thing with Google. We often there's a website now where you can go. It's like a discussion board where you can be like, hey, anyone who's level 6 and above, come to this restaurant opening because you're invited because you're a reviewer that's level 6 and above. And so, and the people that come up to these restaurant openings, it's amazing. Like I'm not at this level, but they'll bring like pro cameras and these light boxes that they'll put the food in before they eat. For me, I'm like, I don't want my food to get cold. And they'll be like, this was really good food. And I'll like forget to take the picture. I'm not a very good reviewer, but there's some really great ones out there, and they're often Yelp Elite or level 8s.
I think that's a great hobby to have. Maybe I should really switch my hobby.
It's a weird one, but I also do like to watercolor once in a while, but reviewing is also fun.
Yeah. I have another question for you from Mara. Do competitors audit their competition? Is that normal practice?
Yeah, it's not just normal, but it's wise practice. So if you can wisely look at kind of the Ahrefs status of your competitors and be like, where are they getting links from? And why are they ranking better than me in social all the time? Because it's almost like this is a great example. Like I'm gonna say it wrong, like Jayu Box. I think it's Jayu. Is that right? You think it is?
Jiu, I guess.
Jiu, Jayu, potato. But their site's like great on site. and you'd think they'd be ranking amazing. You think their organic would be like 60, 80% of their traffic, but it's not, because they really only have 50 people linking to them. And so if they're able to do those minor changes on site, probably would take them a month tops, and like you kind of clean all those up. And then they got one from 50 to like 200 backlinks going to them, they would soar. They'd do amazing. And then they'd be able to look at their competitors. One thing they could do is do an Ahrefs report on their competitor and be like, where are you getting backlinks from? And then they could be like, oh, these are top domain authority backlinks. I'm going to pursue those and maybe do see if I can get articles there as well, or see if I can get some backlinks from them.
Sounds great.
Nothing is hidden anymore. It's almost like it's like we live in a world that's quite transparent. Nothing can be you can't hide much from your competitors.
Yeah, I think whenever I try to incubate a new idea, what I do is I research all of the competitors and see how much they're actually paying for Google ads and Facebook ads, and then seeing, so they're paying a lot. Maybe this is not a great sector or a great product to go in.
You can actually see, when you see a Facebook ad served you, you can actually click on it and actually see all of the Facebook ads that they're running. It's pretty amazing. Like Facebook has it where, you can see all the ads they're running, all the sizes that they're running. There's that term, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Yeah. There's another term where it's like, know thy enemy, that's the short version, but the rest of the quote's quite amazing. But it was this really famous war leader that was like, know thy enemy, know what they're thinking, know what they're doing, and study them.
Totally agree. Thank you so much, Darian. I have another question for you. So is there any way to block competitors from auditing?
There's not. No, we live in a time when it's a very democratic world we live in. So there is no way to hide anymore. You cannot hide.
Also, one great thing about being a small business owner myself is that sometimes you think of them as competitors, but sometimes they're also your friends, because you're or
frenemies.
Exactly.
Right? Like, and learn from them, right? And they make you better, and you grow. And we have a great frenemy in BrainStation. I love them. Like, I actually really love what they're doing, and we hire their grads. They put out amazing students, by the way. Huge plug for BrainStation. And they put out lots of them, and they're a really good education program. But again, it makes me be like, well, why are they always ranking better than us in Google search for these terms? And so it's like, well, I got to work harder. Like, I get more backlinks. I got to optimize my site better. And it's like, and it's fair, because you can also, whether you're taking on BrainStation, right, or another competitor, or you're saying, man, I'm going to take on Coke, or I'm going to take on, X brand, and it's all possible. It's all doable, because we live in such a democratic world online. It's all about, are you providing value? Are you providing support for the people that are Google searching? And it's so amazing. The Davids can beat Goliath today, and those little stones are really good content, really good blogs, and creating really good relationships where people link back to you. So again, encouragement of becoming members of the Chamber of Commerce, becoming members of sites that list you, writing blog posts about your friends that are in business and having them write a blog post about you. Easy way to get a nice backlink. So those are just some kind of low-hanging fruit wins you can get. But again, it's this amazing time we live in where any business, like we live in a time where literally a stock photo of an egg became the most liked photo on Instagram. And so because of that, anything is possible, right? And if you Google search, and again, that's the thing, if you Google search the things that you want to be known for, look at who the top people on that page are, and what does it take to get there and beat them. And it's a great goal to have. Like, give yourself a nice year goal, whether it's you're on page 2, which people joke, where's the best place to hide a dead body? Page 2 of Google. It's a really bad SEO joke, but it's, no one goes to page 2, right? So it's like, how do you get from page 2 or 3 to page 1, right? And that could be your first goal. And then how do you get from page 1 bottom to the top of page 1, right? And then you could get that Drake song playing, like, you started at the bottom, now you're here. You started from the bottom, now you're here, right? And you can just kind of like motivate yourself as you work on your SEO.
That sounds great. Thank you.
You know that Drake song? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't, and I'm searching it after this.
It's so good. Yeah, started from the bottom. Yeah.
I'm listening to it every month. But I try to work my way up to the list.
Yeah.
But I would also add that there was this book, I think it's the Zappos book, something about delivering happiness. Yeah. But a great thing that I learned from there is that I think the founder of Zappos, he said something about providing the best service possible. And even if that means understanding your competitors and directing your customers to your competitors when you don't have the product that they want. And they actually did that thing. I think one of their customer service agents, when they picked up the phone and a customer was asking about a pair of shoes that Zappos didn't have. So Zappos just searched up the link of another competitor and just sent the customer to them. And I thought that was amazing, because as a customer, I would remember Zappos forever. I would be like, this is the company that really made me happy. They they found a solution to my problem, even if that meant directing me to another website. So that might include great reviews for you later on Google reviews. That might include the customer being a returning customer.
Yeah.
So I think it's always great to know your competitors and also thinking of how best to use all of those knowledge to serving your current customers.
So I searched like Vancouver law firm website, right? So we love working with law firms. We like doing all the cool things with law firms, lots of ads running, right? So best Vancouver law firm website company, right? But the number one site that shows up is Jelly Marketing under the ads. So if I click on this link, why are we the number one ranking page for this? Because I listed who are my favorite Vancouver-based web companies for law firms. F-Squared Marketing, Skunkworks, Umbrella. And these are all people that we would compete with for doing law firm websites. There's a little chat. There's Alice. Hi, Alice. Right? So it's just one of those, like, if you're willing to be generous and share helpful information, like these are 3 helpful quotes, websites you should get. But maybe I should consider Jelly to do a quote for a website as well for our website. So again, a really cool tool of just being generous, and being generous.
That is so cool. Oh,
Yeah.
Alice responds right away.
Yeah.
Would you also suggest a few of the businesses that I talked to, when we talk to them about implementing a chat box onto the website, some of them are like, oh, but we don't have the manpower to man the chat box all the time. So what are some tools that you can use, or what are some tips that you can use when you don't have the time to always answer right away to these chat box questions?
And live admins, So live admins is an amazing tool. That's who we use right here. And again, it's only if you think it's going to be that you're going to get the return on value. Oh, they do not sell oranges. Worse. Oh, okay. Thank you. I need oranges. Okay, done. Sorry, I'm going to get out of here. But yeah, all that to say, if it's going to be value, it's like, $700 a month Canadian. But again, you have to make sure you're getting the return on that. And so, and that's why testing talk.to, you could just say, we're only open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And you can just reply when you can, like a text. Or you could just say, we're not going to do it because it's not worth the distraction. Or for us as a firm, we're like, man, we get some really cool leads that come through the night and on weekends. We want to show that we're available for them. And it's more of like philosophically, we want to show that we are a available company.
That totally makes sense. I think for my own company previously, we have a customizable accessories brand. What we do is that, because a lot of our customers we found are on Facebook. So we have this chat box that links directly to Facebook, so that we can have an automated answer that says, oh, we'll just reply to you on our next business day or something. And then the next day we can just reply, and people receive the reply directly on Facebook. So we use the Facebook chat box to do that. But see where your customers are the most. For us, email didn't work as well as Facebook. So that's why we put in a Facebook chat box.
That's awesome. I added a link to Drake's Start at the Bottom, clean version. I'm pretty sure it's clean.
You.
And then I added a place if you want to sign up for a newsletter, mostly not just to get our cool information, but to see an example of a drip campaign. So when you sign up for our newsletter, you're going to get a series of drip emails, and just see that as an example of what you can do drip-wise.
I would totally also recommend Jelly Marketing, the Academy, because I also went on to your academy to learn a lot about SEO and about Facebook ads. And Jelly Marketing has a lot of different introduction videos. So in case you have no idea what's this all about, that's where you can really find out, oh, these are the step-by-step, these are the basics. And then you can slowly make your way down the videos and find out more advanced as you get more skills.
Awesome.
Darian, before we end the session, I would also like to ask you some tips in terms of, I find that a lot of business owners that are currently on the call are still small business owners, probably. And in terms of time management, how would you recommend in terms of best practices for them to divide their times in between running their own business and learning and applying digital marketing skills? And there are so much, and they keep changing.
Totally, I think if you can do 2 to 3 hours a week at most, just for learning, like learning, education, like professional development, that will continue to see your business grow, right? If you're content to kind of be the size you are, don't do it, right? It's one of those, like, if you want to grow like 2 to 3 hours a week of just personal professional development, that could be evenings, weekends, whatever it looks like. And so when you take a training course, find out if it is on demand or if it's going to be live, or if it is live, if you can watch it later. And then the next thing to consider is just the execution of said learnings. Again, 2 to 3 hours a week of, applying some SEO techniques, applying some social techniques, applying some PR techniques. So again, look at it like 6 hours a week, in say like a 60-hour work week as you're an entrepreneur and getting it going. That's what we would suggest. And Kathy, this is a jar of strawberry jelly that we give out to people. It is delicious. It is strawberry. And there's even a secret website on here that you can order peanut butter and bread. But I got a jar like this when I was out for brunch with my mom, and I thought that would make a great business card. And so we've gone on to use this as our business card and name the company after these jars. So Jelly Marketing. And then we say we add like a bit of flavor and spice and color to brands.
Darian, I don't have that jar yet.
What?
I need a jelly jar.
What? We might get you a jar, man. We gotta get you a jar. Okay, we'll get you. We're gonna figure it out. We'll figure
Yes,
this out.
please. Thank you.
And then you can order peanut butter and bread to go with your jar, which is delicious. Yeah.
Another question that I might have for you is in terms of the budget. How would you recommend in terms of how much budget to spend on digital marketing?
Yeah, I think as little as possible would be the big one. And I think the thing with Facebook ads and Google ads, like start with $100 a month. Start with $100 in Google ads, $100 in Facebook ads, monitor it, measure it. And with that, you're able to actually see what's going to get you the return. And then kind of like the idea of crawl, walk, run, slowly turn up the gasoline, slowly add more dollars to it, and then watch for every dollar you spend, how much you're getting back. And that's the great thing with Facebook and Google ads is that you can watch and monitor that quite closely.
And is there a benchmark in terms of how much you're spending versus how much you're getting back that you should try to achieve?
There are benchmarks. It depends if you're B2B or B2C, and depends on kind of the value of your product and kind of the lifetime value of your product or service. And if you're a service business or a product business, so it all depends on kind of those factors. But typically we're saying 20% of your budget, 20% of your profit should at least go back into the marketing of said company. Is what most people are saying. But whether you follow textbooks or not, some do more, some do less. But again, whatever stage your business is in, and even the opportunities you have with the government, right? Whether it's buy local, right? The $75,000 grant to promote your business locally, whether it's the $100,000 export grant you can get to promote your business outside of Canada. That's pretty awesome. So there's lots of great grant opportunities. So sometimes you get an injection of funds to do a really big push. But my always big encouragement is anytime you get an injection of funds, make sure that you're investing not just in a campaign, but you're also investing in assets that can be used for evergreen reasons. They can be used forever. And so think about it. And the things that you do invest in, they have an impact on your SEO. So whether you sign up for a webinar or you sign up to do like a trade show or you sign up to do a product or a video of some sort, make sure that you're getting some great backlinks. You're doing some editorial work along with that so you can get that those wins as well.
Noted. Thank you so much. I also have another question from you. Last question, I promise. That between spending on ads versus, I guess, adding the analytics tools to your website, what would you be spending on first? Because I would think normally the budget or the cost to add analytics goal tracking.
It's all free. Google Analytics
that's
is
only
free.
If you know how to do it yourself, right?
Oh, there's tons of great videos. There's some great kind of videos. But if someone's to add analytics on your site and add goals on your site, like they shouldn't charge more than $500. Like I couldn't imagine someone charging more than that.
Yeah.
And then also like the other thing you can invest in, and this is what's so great about the time in the province we're in, is that you can actually take a course that you can do part-time where they actually will hold your hand and do it. And the government's covering 60 to 100% of the funding. For example, launchonline.ca, if you haven't applied yet, $7,500 to your online business, to your business to go online as well, or if you and to ramp up your existing online business. They're being quite great. They got $50 million for both product and service companies, and that could include, and in the line item could include setting up analytics and understanding goals and setting up some SEO work. So right there, $7,500 from the province to learn how to do it yourself, or get them to pay for it. Because I assume most of us pay taxes already. Might as well get some of that money back to use for your website.
That totally makes sense. Thank you so much, Darian, for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
Before we end the session, I would also like to point everyone to the Book a 30-minute EIR call button, the mint-colored button at the bottom of your screen. And that's where we would love to get your feedback about the session, also any suggestions that you might have regarding future topics that you are interested in. Please click onto that button, and then once you are done with giving us a feedback so that we can improve in the future, we will also give you a link for you to book a one-on-one mentoring call to ask us about any current challenge or question one-on-one with a current entrepreneur in residence that you can talk to and discuss any questions that you might have. So please do click on that button and give us a feedback. That would really help us a lot in terms of planning future webinars and content for you. I would also like to add that we have a future upcoming session, and the upcoming session will be on June the 2nd. of this year from noon to 1:30, so at the same time as this one, and it will be about catalyzing online sales. So for all of you B2B or service-based business out there, I think this is a great session for you if you're doing any kind of online sales right now, especially when previously, pre-COVID, you can do a lot of online sales. So what have you been doing in terms of moving towards online sales? We'll be covering all of that and also some best practices and tips for you to improve your current online sales funnels. Darian, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope everyone have a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye.